Our first guest tonight is a talented actor and director you know from films such as Loving, Boy Erased, The Boys in the Boat, and Red Sparrow. He stars in Dark Matter, which premieres May 8th on Apple TV+. Let's take a look.
A box that would allow a person to travel across the multiple realities of quantum physics. And what if he used that box to travel to my world? What if the person that abducted me is me?
Please welcome back to the show our friend Joel Edgerton, everybody. Welcome back, my friend. I mean, I'm not just saying this, maybe best beard we've ever had on a guest.
Really?
Well, it's like, it feels like perfect symmetry. Like if you turned it upside down, it would also work. Yeah.
You've never had Nick Offerman on here?
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
Never
he's
mind.
best beard in the business.
Offerman's is better. You're right.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm
you know what?
trying.
You're honest, though. You came right out and gave me a better beard. It's been a while. I'm so happy to see you in person. I haven't seen you in person since before the pandemic.
2018,
Yeah.
all these world events are trying to keep us apart,
And now we're together again.
and now we're together.
Look at it. And the chemistry is everything I remembered.
That cuddle backstage
Yeah.
was amazing.
This is based on a book I read and really enjoyed. And it's thrilling to watch it adapted. And also, I think one of the things that probably helps the adaptation is the author of the book, Blake Crouch,
Yeah.
was actually the showrunner of the show.
He wrote the book, he wrote the screenplays, and he was the showrunner. And if only, thank God he's not a good actor, because
Yeah.
I would be out of a job. He literally did everything, and he was daddy for everything that we needed.
And I should know, like, it makes a lot of sense to have somebody like that on board because this is intricately plotted, a lot of big ideas about quantum physics.
Parallel universes, yeah, somebody's got to keep an eye on all of the infinite possibilities.
Yeah. You get to, I mean, you always said, like, your issue with the universe is there was only one of you. And so this show...
Yeah. Yeah. I kept joking in the early phases of it. It's like, I've always wanted to work with myself.
Yeah.
And I finally got to do it. And I have to say, I wouldn't recommend it. Especially doing fight scenes
Yeah.
with yourself.
Right.
Because, you know, I play a physics teacher, on one version of myself, not a failed physics teacher, but a physics teacher who's not really happy with it.
Unsatisfied, yeah.
Yeah, and I kept trying to underline to the stunt guys that this physics teacher doesn't run off to Taekwondo classes every couple of days. So having two science teachers fight each other was the challenge. You know? A little bit better than that, but a bit of...
Yeah. We did see, and again, you are who you are, but there's we did see a science teacher early on with his shirt off, and I'm like, I think top 0.1% of science teachers have that torso.
Well, if you know the science, you can just inject the right things in yourself, you know what I mean?
There you go.
Not that I'm doing that, by the way.
No, of course. We were talking about Red Sparrow, I think, last time we were in person, and you were saying you would make a bad spy in real life. How do you think you would fare as a physicist?
As a physicist, I'd make a great spy. I think I would honestly. Like my brother was brilliant at maths and physics. I was not brilliant at any of those things, and yeah, I just wouldn't make. I'd blow things up, and it wouldn't be on purpose.
Right. Yeah. That's what they say the difference between scientist and troublemaker is did they mean the explosion?
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like in a different world, Oppenheimer's just a bad kid, you know?
I don't necessarily think there would be an actual profession, like professional vocation that I would have been really good at.
It's interesting you say your brother was good at math and science because you did ultimately end up in similar career paths.
Well, interestingly, physics is a big part of stunt. My brother started as a stunt guy.
I did not.
And I didn't realise how much physics goes into it. I mean, when you're thinking about the balance and weight of a car that's flying through the air and which way it's going to land and so on, physics does play a big part of it, and then just stupidity plays the other part.
Right. They say the kids that are both really smart and really dumb in physics class, they're like, thought about stunts?
Yeah. So I don't, acting is not a science, that's for sure. And it's relatively uncomplicated. I really don't think I would have made a great scientist, mathematician, anything. In fact, I don't even know that I'm a great actor, to be honest. So,
but this show does also, like, physics side, it also explores, like, the choices we make and, how we could, like, make a choice early on and diverge. And sort of career choice is one of those things. You say that, but were there any other things you examined doing at a young person?
Yeah, there was a point where I was going off to become an actor and I thought I might go to fine art school and be a painter.
So you found something that was less, sure thing.
Yeah.
You're like, I can't have one of these boring, a punch-in, punch-out acting jobs.
Yeah, I mean, like, today you could probably buy one of my paintings for $15 in a market somewhere in an alternate universe.
Yeah.
I really sometimes, the show really led me in for those reasons of wondering about the accumulative choices you make and where it's gotten you to this point today and whether you have gratitude for where you are or whether you regret certain things. I don't believe in regrets anymore. I used to. But it does make me curious to take a peek at the other versions of what your life could have been.
You currently, this has been something since we've last seen each other in person. You're the father of 2. Mm-hmm. Congratulations.
Thank you. I'm going to wave to them.
Yeah.
My kids watch me on interviews. Not that I make them watch my interviews, by the way, but if they do.
But they just are up watching late night TV.
They love your show.
Thank you.
They love your show. They try and talk to me and they get very upset when I don't talk back.
Oh, during the interview, they talk to the TV.
So I'll just pretend they're talking to me now and I'm like, hello, mate, hello. I'm here, I'll be right there.
You just want to do their half of the conversation so they're not thrown later. Your kids, I'm not just saying this because you're Australian, but I'm assuming your kids, like any kids that are almost 3, are Bluey fans?
They are Bluey and Bingo.
Yeah, Bluey and Bingo.
They're so obsessed with it that half the time they wear costumes, and if I talk to them and refer to them by their real name, my daughter goes, no, I'm Bluey.
Yeah.
And I have to call her by the name Bluey if she's wearing the ears.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. I was wondering how much of the costuming, just ears?
Oh, everything.
You actually, you got to voice a Bluey character.
Yes.
You were a police officer. There you go. You can see very... Oh, there we go. There you go. So they've seen episodes where you're the police officer.
They saw the episode where I'm a police officer, and even though I told them that is my voice.
And did you do much of a voice?
No, a little bit. My partner Christine thinks that I maybe changed my voice a little bit.
Okay.
Too much, and maybe that's the reason. But I just don't think they put it together.
Yeah.
So they're like, I'm like, this is me, and they're like, get out of the way, Dad. We're watching Blue, watching this cool cop. You're not cool.
So they won't even take your word for it?
No.
Yeah. Do they, in general, sort of think you're a liar?
They don't. Yeah. Well, yeah. You know what it's like. You got kids. Yeah, nothing you do is right, and you're wrong on everything, and you can't win an argument with a child, which means you probably should send your child into law school because then they would make a lot of money and win a lot of cases.
I walk my kids to school, and it's my favorite 20 minutes of the day. That's a lie, but I like the idea of it. I like the idea of that I'm a person where that's true.
That's true. Yeah.
But we have people walk by, and every now and then, a nice thing about New Yorkers is they also have somewhere to be. So nobody bothers me, but every now and then somebody will be like, hey, man, good to see you. And I'm like, oh, hey, thanks. Very nice. And they'll be like, how do they know you? And I'll say, oh, they probably know the show. And they're like, okay. And then somebody else will do it. Mm-hmm. And they're like, how do they know you? I'm like, the show. And then somebody will be like, how do they know you? I'm like, he was my oldest friend. He's my oldest friend from my old hometown.
No.
Do you ever, you were saying you only know twins, but do you ever think to yourself, oh my gosh, this is, exactly double what most people do the first time they have kids?
Yeah, I had nothing to compare it to. And this is the reason why I say I have zero regrets in life. One of them is because, like my character on the show, if you took my life away from you, I would destroy you to get it back. And any time in my past that I've had regrets, I now realise that everything I am is part of all the choices I've made up to this point. and I wouldn't exchange anything for the world. And I'm not even going to make a joke.
Yeah, I think it's a really lovely, real place to leave it. It's so nice to have you back in the building, man. You guys, that's Joel Edgerton. Dark Matter premieres on Apple TV Plus on May 8th. The new episode's available on Wednesdays. We'll be right back with Lily Gladstone. Our next guest is a Golden Globe-winning Academy Award-nominated actor you know from Reservation Dogs and Killers of the Flower Moon. She stars in Under the Bridge, which is streaming now on Hulu. Let's take a look.
I'm so sick of this telephone game with these kids. Need something real from them, you know?
Use the press. Scare them.
Dad wants us to put up a united front. It'd be easy.
I mean, you don't have to do anything psycho. Just spook them a little bit, you know? They'll start messing up.
Please welcome to the show, Lily Gladstone, everybody. Welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm great. I'm so happy to be here.
I am impressed. You seem to have a lot of energy right now. I know you were at the Met Ball very late last night.
Very late last night.
First
early
Met Ball.
this
Did you
morning,
enjoy
I guess.
yourself?
It's amazing.
Great. You looked wonderful.
Thank you.
It was beautiful. And I know there is some significance to the dress. Fill us in.
So the dress, it's amazing if you go to Gabriella Hearst's Instagram, you can see the way that the constellations were laid out. Every one of these stars recycled silver made by Kiowa artist Carrie Atombai. And they're arranged in the actual constellations that you would see on the northern plains where I grew up on the summer solstice.
Unbelievable.
Which is a really powerful time of year for our people. And both Kiowa, where Carrie's from, her nation, and Blackfeet, where I'm from, our origin story is that we came from the stars. We came from Sky Woman, who fell to Earth and created everything for us. And then when we pass away, we return to the stars. Blackfeet call the Milky Way the Wolf Trail. And you join your ancestors and walk with them for the rest of eternity. So being draped in this cape with these stars was kind of Gabriella and Carrie's way of saying that I have my ancestors with me when I'm walking these moments.
Unbelievable. What a... Yeah. Also, you mentioned the Blackfeet Nation. They honored you this year with Lily Gladstone Day.
Yes,
and I
we
feel like this
did.
photo, I feel like we're catching you in a real moment of appreciation in this photo. Like hand on heart. That's a really special... Was
Yeah.
that a big day?
It was. Biggest day of my life, honestly.
That's great.
One of my aunties, I don't think she's in that picture, but Theda Newbreast is her name. She's also on Reservation Dogs. She has a great little cameo on there. But she was interviewed by the Missoulian, and she said this day was, for us, bigger than the Oscars, and it really was. I mean, there are about 100 women who have this headdress that are in Women's Headdress Society, and all of these ladies are community leaders. They're social workers. They work with children, with elders. They work with violence prevention. They work in missing, murdered Indigenous peoples. Just everything that our communities deal with. They're the ones who are there and keeping us going. So that that this society asked me to become a part of them. It's tremendous. It's something that selects you. It's nothing I would have ever dreamed for myself. But yeah, it's kind of my life before this and then my life after this.
What an amazing thing that is as well. I know, you had been at this for a while, but obviously, Killers of the Flower Moon, everybody...
Right.
For most of us, it was the first time we got to know you.
Yeah.
And you said something recently because you're in this wonderful new show. And I heard you say that working with Robert De Niro and Leonardo DiCaprio is not as intimidating as working with teenagers. And can I just tell you that really resonated? That really resonated for me. Like,
You have teenagers?
How quickly? I don't have teenagers, but I remember once, like, I'll do stand-up, and one time they said, hey, would you do this event at a high school? And I walked out, and immediately it was like, oh, no, 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 no.
Exactly.
Their eyes are different.
They are. Oh my God. It's like, I feel like there's such power in adolescence. It's when your identity's forming. It's when you're really getting a sense of what you care about in the world, and everything is so intense. Like hormones, whatever it is. So when you're in a scene with teenagers that are playing some truly scary, like,
Right, yeah.
scary kids and scary moments, all of the kids are so brilliant. I mean, they're all very, very kind human beings and tremendous actors, but being in a scene with somebody who's that close to these fresh discoveries, because they're coming online as adults, and it's, I don't know. There's something that's a lot more raw and a lot more in the moment, spontaneous, and a little intimidating about it. So, yeah.
It's very funny to think that you could say to Robert De Niro, "You don't scare me." I have a teenager.
Right. Chloe Guidry scares me. Robert De Niro does not.
You, I believe, and tell me if I'm wrong, but so this is you and Riley Keough and Under the Bridge. She's wonderful as well. We're a big fan of hers. But the teenagers knew her from Daisy Jones and the Six.
Right.
But Killers of the Flower Moon had not come out yet when you started shooting.
Nope.
So did they have any sense of your previous work before that?
Not really. I mean, I know that Izzy G, who plays Kelly Ellerton, and her parents and everybody, they kind of looked me up, and I think they'd seen another film of mine. But other than that, I was kind of a mystery to the kids, which was great because it's strange. Cam says it in the series, but I felt it in that cop uniform. It changes how people are around you. And when I was in uniform around these kids who had nobody'd seen what I'd done before. It's like they were probably 4 when certain women came out, and not everybody's diving into these these independent dramas when they're 4 years old. So it was kind of fun to be like, I really loved the gift of that because it created a really authentic sort of relationship I got to have with them. You know, there wasn't this. You know, Riley was like a rock star to those kids. Sure. Literally, because Daisy Jones, we were watching it every week. There were episodes dropping while we were filming, and everybody was so excited and that they get to be doing this with Riley. And then I leave for Cannes, Killers premieres. There's a lot of press around it, and then I go back, and then everybody's like, oh, this is who you are. You're not actually a cop.
We thought you were a cop.
Right.
You're like, I'm an undercover cop.
Exactly.
These are Killer, obviously, Under the Bridge, heavy works, very moving dramas. I'm also very happy when I heard that you are starring in a remake of the comedy Wedding Banquet. This is a wonderful Ang Lee film. And it's going to be you and your co-star is going to be Bowen Yang.
Bowen Yang, yep. So excited. It was so sweet. I actually just met him in person about 10 minutes ago.
Oh, really?
He came down from the SNL stage to say hi.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Like, he smells so good.
Oh, that's fantastic. And I heard you will not work with someone who's not great smelling.
Nope, it's in my contract.
That's your one thing in your rider. Hey, congratulations on everything. It is so lovely to meet you in person. Thank you. Lily Gladstone, everybody. Under the Bridge is streaming on Hulu. We'll be right back with Cole Escola. Our next guest is an actor and comedian you know from shows like Difficult People, Search Party, and At Home with Amy Sedaris. They wrote and star in the hit off-Broadway play Oh, Mary, which is playing at the Lucille Lortel Theater through May 12th, and then transferring to the Lyceum Theater on Broadway, June 26th. Please welcome to the show, Cole Escola, everybody. Oh, Cole, you came in costume.
Well, I came from the show. I forgot I had to do this, so thank you so much.
Oh, my God, thank you.
Please.
You for forgetting.
Yeah.
Before we move on, I was lucky enough to run into you last night at the Met. And Cole, some sartorial splendor here. This is just fantastic.
I needed... I was in the neighborhood. I needed to charge my phone. I saw a line of people.
Oh, no, so you were not invited.
No, I was not invited. Are you kidding? That's for rich people.
So you were just wearing this on the streets of New York City.
This is New York City, Seth.
Oh, that's true.
Come on.
If there's anywhere that makes sense.
Yes.
All right, so I'd heard so many wonderful things about this show
I
was worried. I was worried that it had been oversold. You know that fear you have?
I have that fear.
I would imagine, you must have that fear in it. But I am here to tell you, don't have that fear, because I went, and again, my expectations have been raised through the roof, and it was so much better than I even could have imagined. So congratulations.
Thank you, Seth.
For...
Don't clap for him.
Sorry, so do you want to lay out the premise of the show?
The show is called Oh, Mary. It's about Mary Todd Lincoln, who, if you don't know, was Abraham Lincoln's wife. He had one of those. And it's it's about her hopes and dreams and in the weeks leading up to Abraham's assassination.
And you had an idea where you would play Mary Todd Lincoln.
Yes.
And then how much research did you do?
I did less than no research. I actively forgot things that I knew about Mary Todd Lincoln.
So your whole idea was I'm going to write this play based on the things I was taught years ago without doing any more legwork.
Well, what I was worried about was that the audience, you know, people are stupid. Seth.
Sure.
But I wanted to have the same knowledge that the audience had.
Right.
I didn't want to do research and then be making jokes about like, well, that'll get a laugh because that's where she was born. You know, and then, so I was like, oh, it was actually dangerous, so it's...
But then you also sort of gave yourself artistic license because you're Mary Todd.
Because I'm an artist.
Yes, of course. And you have a physical license
yes,
that you were given.
Oh, it's in my other pants, yeah.
So, but you made a choice of how you wanted to play this Mary Todd Lincoln,
Yes.
which is a sort of frustrated former cabaret star.
Alcoholic.
Yes.
Yeah.
And how did you come to those two details?
Well, because, Seth, you're looking at a former cabaret star alcoholic. Thank you. Yeah, clap for that. Clap for that. Thank you. So yeah, it's literally me.
Yeah.
It's a show about me and all my feelings and yeah, genuinely I hope that's why it works. You know.
One of the reasons I think it works is it works because I feel like no one's ever quite seen anything like it. And the minute it starts, we feel as though we are in a very safe pair of hands. Like, we don't know where it's going, but I think we feel very confident based on the very beginning of, they know where it's going. And how long have you worked on it? Like, how long did you take to get this in the shape it is in now?
What time is it now?
Okay, right.
Yeah. I had the idea in 2009.
Okay.
We all remember 2009,
Yeah.
right?
Everyone was talking
Everyone
about
had
Lincoln.
ideas. Yeah. I said, I gotta cash in, but I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna wait till they least expect it. But I was actually scared to write it because I loved the idea so much.
I know that feeling,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
It's almost too good to,
Yeah.
the minute you start writing it, it gets worse than you thought it would.
If you write it and then you're like, oh no, this sucks. I have nothing. I should go away. Yeah. And I will go away after this play ends, I promise. I know people my family's sick of me doing press for this thing. Yeah.
You are about to move to a bigger theater.
Yes.
And how long into the run of at the Lortel did you find out that you were going to go to Broadway?
Oh God, just like a month or so ago.
And was that met with extreme excitement?
Well, I don't know if you know the thing about theater, but you do 8 a week.
Yeah, you do 8 a week.
You do 8 a week, and
you're doing some work up there.
I'm doing some work up there, so of course I'm excited. This is my dream come true. It's my dream come true. But I will once we have a break. I'll get to have a moment of like Broadway, but I haven't had that yet.
Right, you have to do it every night.
I have to do it every night.
And now, of course,
I get to do it every night.
You are also
get to do it every night.
and I know you're now doing it for people who have heard about it, right?
Yeah.
So the thing now is,
It's like, oh yeah, prove it. What's so funny about her? I hear that every night.
There were a
Seth.
lot of that crowd the night I was
Yeah,
there.
yeah. Especially
a lot of
these
like
people.
longshoremen type.
Yeah.
All right, so Tony Kushner wrote the film Lincoln.
Yes.
Steven Spielberg directed it.
Yes.
And Sally Field played Mary Todd Lincoln.
Yeah.
They all came to the show the same night.
Yeah,
and here they are after the show.
Yeah.
Now, you knew in advance they were coming.
I did. I love to know when people come, because
Okay,
then I try harder.
Oh yeah, that's.
You know?
If there's no Famos, you like
Oh
go.
yeah. I'm like, let's cancel the show.
So what was their reaction to it? Did you have any trepidation about those three?
I only slightly was worried that they would be like, because they worked on that film and so they care about the Lincolns. I was afraid that they might be like, That's disrespectful.
Yeah.
You went way too far, buddy. Way too far. But they were so warm and lovely, and yeah.
Did they lean over at any point and go, we also didn't do any research?
Well, actually, Steven did say this really sweet thing. He was like, we made the wrong movie. I was like, don't tease me, Steven.
I don't want to give anything away.
Mm-hmm.
There's a physical moment involving a desk.
Oh, yes.
Can I just, because I
Well,
want
there's a
people...
couple, yeah.
Yeah, there's a dismount.
Yes, okay.
How long into the process did that happen?
You know, theater's all about the rehearsal.
Yeah.
And you find things in rehearsal, and then they go in the show. It's a beautiful process, Seth. You got to do Broadway.
Oh my God, thank you.
You're welcome.
Just to meet more people who explain it like that.
Yes. Yeah, of course.
I was apologizing backstage. I forgot that we had worked together before.
Yes, technically we did work
We
together.
were in an episode of Difficult People.
Yes.
With the great Billy Eichner.
Yeah.
Here is we're never actually in a two-shot together. But there
no.
you are, and there I am.
But in the world of the show, you did give me a hand job.
In the world of the show, I did. You know what the best is? They think you're joking, but that is 1,000% true.
It's true.
That is true.
In the world
off
of
camera,
the show.
Off camera.
Off camera.
But,
it's just referenced.
but
But
it
you
did-
insisted on doing the research.
Because unlike you, I think research matters.
All right. Agree
Because
to disagree.
someone told me you find it in rehearsal. Oh my God, you guys, Cola Scola, give it up. Go see this. Oh Mary, playing at the Lucille Lortel Theater through May 12th and transferring to the Lyceum Theater on Broadway June 26th. Tickets are on sale at ohmaryplay.com. We'll be right back with more Late Night.